Okay, so recall that in the last step we were able to use the ingest function. We pointed to our raw images folder, we pointed to the metadata file that was created, and we created this ingest folder that stores all of our raw ingested data. Now at this point the data is not georeferenced at all. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to actually identify the location of these fiducial marks in order for a camera model to be created for each one of these images using the center point information. So what we need to do is we need to start working with Geomatica. So Geomatica has several tools. Focus is the viewer that we were just using, and we also have this tool called Ortho Engine. So let me open up Ortho Engine. That's what we'll need to do to identify the fiducial points on the images. Now if I go to the ingest folder and I identify this fid.prj file, this was an automatically created project file that can be used in Ortho Engine. So I can simply drag and drop that into Ortho Engine, and everything is set up for me. I'll change a few things before I get started. So if I click on the output projection, everything is in UTM, which is fine. However, right now the resolution is set to 10 meters. So let me bring that down to 40 centimeters, which is approximately what we can achieve with this quality of scanned air photo that's been flown at this altitude. We can achieve about a 40 centimeter pixel size. So I'll change that to 40 centimeters, and you can see that everything is set up. My camera calibration, it already knows that I'm working at 152.50 millimeters, and some of the information has been pre-populated here. Now the key thing I need to do here is to essentially collect the fiducial marks for the air photos. Now, as you can imagine, there are quite a few air photos in this project, and this is a relatively small project, but we do have automatic fiducial collection capability within our software. So what I'll do is I'll simply pick the first image here, I'll open it up, and you can see that here we have our dialog to mark the fiducials. We have to simply find them on the data. So let me zoom into the location of the top left fiducial. Don't need to be very accurate here. I could just set it roughly to where it is. So I'll set that as my top left fiducial. Zoom in here to my top right. So I'll set this one as my top right. And I'll just move down to the bottom right. Set that. And then I'll move my box over to the bottom left. You can see that sometimes the fiducials aren't as clear, so the system may or may not collect them depending on the quality of the scan. So here is roughly where the bottom left fiducial is. And at this point I can simply click Auto Fiducial, and I can use a threshold, so basically like a search radius, and I'll set this to 3 pixels, and I'll just go run. So the auto fiducial now is being executed on all of the other images. I don't have to open them individually and go through the same process as I just did. And the information relating to the success or failure or accuracy of the fiducials is being stored in this report here called fiducial.rpt file. So let me open up the auto fiducial file, and I'll just make this a little bit bigger. So you can see that the first image is the one that I used as my template, so it's telling me that it skipped it because that was the FID template. And everything is looking okay. So essentially I don't have any failed fiducials. Now if I did have some that were saying failed or maybe that weren't collected, here you can see that this image, number 88, doesn't have a bottom right fiducial. So I might pull that one up. Let me just pull it up here to see what's happening with number 88. So let's go find image 88, and it was telling me that there is no fiducial in the bottom right. Now you can see that the bottom right fiducial is a little bit overexposed, let's call it, and so I can simply give it the actual information that it needs. I'll just close this other one down here. And as you can see, the bottom right box is empty. So I'll just roughly position my cursor. I can play with the enhancement, turn it off, or maybe do something kind of to exaggerate where the center of the X is. So I'm roughly going to put it there, hit set, and then hit OK. So I don't need to run the auto fiducial again because I just indicated where that point was. So I can simply save my fid.prj file, and I'm ready to move on to the next step, which is to do the nominal georeferencing.